one's full of ants. That's crazy. Man, it was quite a chore getting through Spanish Fork. Last year, I had promised myself I was not going to go on an adventure over Memorial Day weekend because it just is so busy. But I don't know, can't help but go. So, man, so many people headed up Spanish Fork Canyon. Way busy. I did meet Victor, which was really cool. Victor, I wish we'd had a chance to talk a little bit longer, but he's got an amazing 4Runner, just decked out with everything you could ever want, and follows the YouTube channel, which I appreciate. But man, look at how beautiful those mountains are. That's making me think I made the right decision. So now here's to finding somewhere that's not overcrowded. Hitting out on the dirt on Starvation Road. I have a feeling that passing trucks like this is going to be pretty common all weekend. I've been using these little deflators now for a couple of years, and I still think they're the best option. Super inexpensive, works every time. You don't have to worry about messing anything up. And if you do them all four at the same time, they're really quick. I'm not doing that right now because you can't hear anything if I do that. What is up, you guys? This is Jared, and you are watching Backroad Exploration. I am really excited to be out on another trip. Right now, I'm on Starvation Road, which is up Spanish Fork Canyon, and I have a fun loop plan. I'm basically going to be making my way up Starvation Road, around Schofield Reservoir, and hopefully not running into a bunch of closed gates like Mike and I did last year in our Keep Out trip, and make my way down towards the Price area. Then I'm going to come back up over the top of the mountain a little bit near the Skyline Drive area, and then drop down into Ephraim tomorrow. So should be a really good 2 days in the mountains. Let's hit the trail. Starvation Road, I think, is a little underappreciated. A lot of people know about Skyline Drive, and so more people hit it, but I think that Starvation Road is a nice little hidden gem, and if you're going to run all of Skyline Drive, you can actually access it from Starvation Road in a couple places. So might be something you want to consider if you want to change up the trip a little bit. Starvation Road kind of runs down through like a little canyon versus Skyline Drive's up on the ridge for a while. So anyways, it's worth checking out. It almost feels like everything is right in the world when I'm back in the mountains, and this is just so stunning. Everything's super green since it's, you know, kind of late spring, early summer, and oh man, have I missed being in the mountains. Man, there's so many places in here that I could camp. I'm reluctant to go further, but you know, it's early in the afternoon still, so you know, I need to be on the trail probably a couple more hours. Man, am I just so glad I am out right now. I really wanted to get the second part of my family's Jeep adventure down in the Hanksville area out, and I've just been working like crazy recently, and so I was having a hard time getting that video edited, and so I decided, you know what, instead of leaving early this morning like I was going to, I woke up early and cranked that edit out. And then with it being the holiday weekend, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, oh, maybe I just want to stay home. Last Memorial Day was just so crazy. man, am I so glad I did not do that. So far, it really hasn't been that busy. And it is just so beautiful. I'm having so much fun. So I just know that happens with, you know, just sometimes we're kind of like, oh, do I want to go this weekend or not? And every time I go, I'm just so glad I did. So that's my words of encouragement, is when you're kind of having those, oh, well, what about this? I don't know if I have this fixed, or just go. Do it. You're gonna regret it if you don't. If you've never been into Schofield, it's really cool. There's, you know, some rich mining history, and so you've got, you know, some really old homes, and you know, most of it's all just used now for recreational things, but it's just really unique. There's a cool old cemetery. It's definitely worth stopping and checking out. Well, as you can see, my luck continues to not be great. Looks like a big portion of what I'd planned out is actually behind this closed gate. I don't think that this area is like permanently closed or anything. I think they just haven't opened it up for the season yet. And we are getting pretty high. I wonder if there's snow on some of the switchbacks or something like that. So good thing is there's a lot of stuff in the area, so a little bit of improvising. And mostly the downside is I was planning on spending about 2 or 3 hours on this trail, but I gotta basically wipe all of that out and see where I'm gonna explore next. Well, I know why that road's closed still. Looking out over the edge, I was driving by so I didn't get a shot of it, but like I mentioned, it's likely that there might be some snow on some of the switchbacks, and sure enough, like the very first switchback has a huge drift still over it. So, you know, that's kind of the risk you run when you're up at like 10,000 feet, so 10,000 feet, so find somewhere else to go. Now I'm just like cruising halfway back down Skyline Drive, so it'll give me plenty of driving to left to do tomorrow if I keep this up. But there's like a big snowbank back there that you got to go through, so that's really limited a lot of people from coming this direction any further. This'll do. This is pretty nice. It's not quite as far away from the road as I would like, but it's really pretty. It's got lots of good shade, and it's just beautiful being up here. Perfect. First thing I want to do is get a fire going, because it is going to get really cold. I'm going to split some of this, see if I can't find some that's dry enough to get a good fire. After my last trip, I realized this thing's really dull, so I brought a file. I'm hoping to work on it a little bit. Pretty wet still, you can smell it. It's just a bunch of aspen and poplar. It's not very good wood, but it'll work. Could probably benefit from having a little bit more kindling in there, but let's see what we can do here. Well, I've got a fire going, and it's almost 7 o'clock, so I want to get some dinner in me. I'm going to be just doing really basic grilled cheese soup. Easy to do and easy to clean up after, and probably enjoy a little bit of time around the fire before I head to bed. All right, so while dinner is just kind of coming to its final stages, I wanted to talk about solo travel. So it has been actually a little while since someone's blasted me for, you know, being out on my own without another rig or with me and my kids. Let me be clear. Obviously, being with other people is way more safe. So I'm not trying to argue that it's not. My argument more is if you make some simple planning ahead, you can do adventure travel on your own really safely. And the reality is, at my age, the most likely way I'm going to die is if I was at home on a weekend driving around in town and dying in a car wreck. So things that I always do, I make an entire mapped route of where I'm going to go, and I give that both to my brother Mike and to my wife. I also give them check-in times, so I'm going to tell them, like, hey, if you don't hear from me by X time, you need to send people to come looking for me. Something that I don't have that I want to pick up is like a Garmin InReach or a spot device, so that if I broke a leg or got in trouble like that and was out of cell phone reception, I could hit an emergency button like that. Or if something happened to me and I was with my kids, they could do that. So with the kids, we've given them a lot of training. Like with Wyatt, I've talked to him about what happens if I'm incapacitated. You know, he needs to set up camp inside the Jeep. He knows I always have enough food that they could eat for a couple of days. The reason I'm eating this soup that I've got is I always have a few cans of soup with me no matter what, because you can eat it cold, which is good. If something happened to me, the kids could still eat it. I always get the peel top lids. That's something that the kids could use. I have a can opener with me too, but I don't want to have to rely on Wyatt being able to jimmy rig that open. And then we've given them training on stay with the rig. Someone's going to be looking for you because they have our tracks. Get in the shade. Make sure they're taking lots of water. That's the other things I think are important. Make sure that you have the supplies that you need to last a couple of days. I'm not talking about bringing a week's worth of stuff for a weekend trip. I mean, have a couple of days of water, a couple of days of food. In case something crazy happens and you get stranded, you're going to be totally fine until someone can come and help you. So I think there's just little precautions that you can do like that. I always bring a regular map with me. I'm not super worried about getting lost, but because a lot of times I've traveled enough in Utah that I know general directions of things that I could get to somewhere if I lost all mapping. But I think it's a good idea to have with you. Always bring a first aid kit, you know, simple things like that. But I really think you can do adventure travel on your own. Guys like Dan Greck have traveled all over Africa. Chris Shantz travels all over the United States on their own. And just don't take unnecessary risks. That's my main thing that I have to work on a little bit is, you know, that trail that I want to go up, I'm by myself. I need to back out of it and say, you know what, next time I'll come back when I have Mike or someone else with me. So those are just some little tips. If you guys have tips, let me know what you've got that I think are important for any adventure travel that you're doing, but especially if you're doing solo trips. One of the main downsides of it being so high is it is cold. And I don't know if I really want to sit out around the fire or if I just want to go crawl in bed. I was up super early editing this morning, so I'm pretty tired. I may call it a fairly early night. We'll see. Well, good morning. It was freezing cold last night. In fact, it's actually lightly snowing right now, but it's really, really pretty up here. I'm not feeling super hungry right now, and since it's so cold, I'm not really feeling like cooking, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pack up and get some miles underneath my belt, drop in elevation a little bit, just in case this snow turns into something more, and make my way down Skyline Drive a little ways until I hit the Miller Flat Reservoir area, and then I'm going to head down that road and do some exploring in that area on my way down to Joe's Valley Reservoir. So let's start packing up and hit the trail. One of the positives, I guess, of being on a solo trip is packing up is going to be pretty easy. Pretty much I just need to fold up the bed and throw a couple things in. So going to do that real quick, yeah, and then we can hit the trail. Sun's starting to come out a little bit, which is nice. Hopefully stop those little snowflakes that are falling. I've been using this Lightspeed mattress that I got from Costco, I believe. It's just like a self-inflating one for like 5 or 6 years now. But it's gotten to the point where it doesn't hold air all night, so I need to pick up a new one. If you have a recommendation on a nice, you know, inflatable, small, thin, you know, like backpacking style air mattress that you like, let me know. I definitely am kind of on the hunt for something new there. that snow patch was a lot more tame this morning because it was all frozen over. Yesterday it was a little squirrely because it was a little loose in some sections, but not a big deal at all this morning. It was almost completely frozen over. Well, there's definitely a lot more snow up here. We are getting close to the summit of Skyline Drive right here, so it should be mostly downhill, but I am a little bit worried that if there's quite a bit of shade in the Miller's Flat area, I'm worried that they might have the roads closed due to the snow. So if they do, man, that's gonna put a big damper in today's plans. The turn to Skyline Drive, if we were gonna go on it, we'd go that way, but it's still blocked with snow. So now it's time to drop a little bit and see if the other roads I want to go on are blocked too. Well, that's very disappointing. As I was pulling in, there was a car leaving and I thought, oh sweet, it's open, but they must have just been turning around. I have to meet my family this afternoon. They've been gone all week and I'm at least 2 hours from home. So rather than just going straight home, I think I'm going to go back up Skyline Drive and take it over to Highway 6. That'll at least give me another hour or more of dirt. And there's a couple little side trails in there that I can explore a little bit. So I think that'll be the plan. And then once I get to Highway 6, then I can kind of make adjustments from there on if I want to try something different. If there's a bunch of areas kind of near Diamond Fork that are pretty cool that I might have time to hit too. So time to readjust. So I've got this Grand Cherokee behind me. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but he's got a nice bull bar on it. I think he's running into the same issues I'm running into. I saw him stopped at the entrance to Skyline Drive that was covered with snow. Then he just pulled in behind me on Miller's Flat Road. So I think he's running into more snow than he was anticipating too. One thing that I really love about up here on Skyline Drive is there's so many little spur trails. Most of them don't lead very far or anything, but they're still fun to explore. And this one so far has been pretty cool. Love seeing all the mountain flowers. These little yellow flowers are like in full bloom right now. It almost makes the grass look yellow. It's pretty. Look at this cutout. It's amazing to me that they built a road. Basically, the Conservation Corps did this, back right after World War II, and it's pretty incredible. And this road has provided a lot of recreation and valuable area for grazing and things like that. The public lands can do a lot of good, and man, I'm definitely a fan of this one. Man, I'm getting pretty close to Highway 6, but been running into a lot more snow patches. Hopefully I don't end up getting blocked right before Highway 6 and have to backtrack everywhere I just came. That would be, it would be fun, but a little obnoxious. just wrapping up this trip. I've made it to Highway 6. I'm gonna air back up before I jump on the pavement and head home. But if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to follow me on the day-to-day and see more of my adventures, head over to Instagram and follow me at Backroad Exploration. Thanks so much for watching.